Well, hello everybody. I've been doing some thinking, and I just want to explain some things, well I can, because I don't know. There are signs that this channel will disappear at some point, and then I won't be able to. And so even making this video now may cause this channel to disappear. But if it does, then I would like for anybody who's seen it, itchy nose, anybody who's seen it to at least to know what's going on and why I do what I do and why I am the way I am, you know, and what my mindset is, and so on. Why I say the things I say, and so on. Basically, in my case, I'm old enough that I remember a time before social media. In fact, I was born into an era when transistors were cutting edge, Really, we still had vacuum tubes, really. Most of our electronics was still vacuum tubes. And but we had transistors. Transistors do predate me. The transistor was invented in 1947. And in 1947, my dad was 10 years old. So transistors do predate me, but we were still in the vacuum tube era in 1968 when I was born. We were still pretty much in the vacuum tube era, although transistors were a thing. Now transistors are old and they're obsolete really, and vacuum tubes even more so. So I can go back to a completely different era than the one we're living in now, when social media, nobody knew what that was. When I was a kid, if you said social media, people would, what? What do you mean? They wouldn't know what it was, because it didn't exist. There was no such thing. But one thing that did exist, and it still exists today and is being expressed through social media quite a bit by political leaders and so on, is there's always been an effort on the part of the powerful to suppress dissenting opinion. That's always been there. It's taken different forms in different places and at different times. There are places in this world where you will be put to death if you express a dissenting opinion. There are places where you'll be jailed. Our country here of Canada is moving in that direction rapidly, in my opinion. This is my dissenting opinion. I believe that's what's happening here. I don't think we're there yet, although if some people have gone to jail for expressing dissenting opinions here, we do have a little bit of that. But, so we are partly there, but we're not there to the degree that I believe we're going to be in the near future. And, here's the thing. All my life I have had to deal with that situation. That's been a reality for me. And, I was targeted by the police early on because I wouldn't accept being bullied. I had a few run-ins with police officers who were overstepping, and I wouldn't accept it. We had really corrupt police. In my area, we had some really corrupt police. We had one policeman in our town that used to shake down drug dealers, take their drugs off them, and then sell the drugs behind the high school. In the 1980s, this was happening. He sold the drugs out of his patrol car behind the high school that he stole from drug dealers. We actually had a cop in our town that was doing that, and he got away with it. Dirty tricks. We had cops who used the storage area, the evidence locker, as their own personal shopping mall. We actually had police who did that. I mean, I had a friend, he's passed away now, but his grandson was growing stuff on his property that he shouldn't have been growing because it was illegal at the time. And the grandson was going around bragging about it. Now, this fella, he didn't know anything about it. He was an old man. He didn't know anything about what was going on. But he was a hunter, my friend was. He had guns. He had rifles. Well, the cops came because it was being grown on his property. They come and they seized his rifles and everything. They charged him. He eventually got the charges thrown out, and the judge said, "You can go get your rifles." When he tried to get his rifles, the police refused to give them back. It turned out the police officers had taken his rifles home. They liked his rifles. He had rifles going back to the 40s and 50s, beautiful old hunting rifles. And the police took those weapons home with them. And then they didn't want to give them back. He had a terrible time getting them back. I mean, this is what we have going on. In this area, this is the stuff that's been going on. We had, in my family, my oldest sister's dog kept getting loose. My sister was raising her grandchildren, and the littlest of the grandchildren, a little girl, was really precocious, and she'd get mad if you tried to tell her what to do or whatever. She'd get mad. And one of the things she'd do is, in anger, she'd open the door and let the dog out. And now the dog could be running up and down the street, and this was a fast dog. You'd never catch this dog on foot. You know. Well, the police decided that my sister shouldn't have her dog anymore, and one of the officers caught the dog and took the dog home. Decided that the dog belonged to him. Just took it home. Well, luckily my sister got the dog back because the dog catcher was aware of the situation, and the dog catcher basically said, "You've committed an act of theft. Give the lady her dog back, or I will see that you get prosecuted." And so, yeah, they had to give the dog back. But, I mean, this is the stuff that's gone on in my hometown anyway. So I was targeted early on. I got into a fight with a cop's son back in 1990. He threatened me, and I put him out of the place I was working. I was driving a taxi cab at the time. We were working out of a garage, out of a gas station. Our boss owned a gas station. There was a young man that used to dispatch cabs and so on for us and pump gas there. He broke up with his girlfriend. His girlfriend basically come to him and said, "Look, I'm taken up with this other guy, and we're going to go out to a cottage and we're going to sleep together tonight." And he knew that where the cottage was and everything. He was heartbroken. He got himself a bottle and he started drinking. And then he starts talking about going out there and killing these two people. And he wanted me to take him out there in the cab to kill these people. I told him no, I wouldn't do that. I didn't want any part of that. And I told him he needed to sober up and rethink what he was going to do. This girl was not worth ruining his life over. You know. Well, this son of one of the local policemen came in and he heard the conversation, and he says to me, he said, "Take him out there." I said, "No, I'm not going to do that." He said, "I'm ordering you to take him out there. And if you don't take him out there, I'm going to beat you up as punishment for disobeying me." Well, I chucked a hold of that guy. You know, I could be pretty rough when I was young if I had to be. I grew up with violence, you know. And I didn't take kindly to being threatened, and I didn't care who he was. And I put him out of there, and on his way out, I opened a door into his face. Now, this is a heavy aluminum, commercial door in a commercial building. I opened the door, basically the edge of the door caught him right across here. It split his head open, there's blood and everything. I shoved him out into the lot, and I told him, "Don't ever come here threatening me, because if you do, this is just a taste of what you'll get." Well, he left. About a half an hour later, all hell busted loose. The place was surrounded by cops. They were jumping curbs in the cop cars, coming on to just like what you'd see in a movie. This is what they were doing. And I ended up face to face with this guy's father, and of course he was in a blind rage. Luckily, other people intervened. And they said, "Look, he came in here threatening and stuff." Now, the father still wanted to lock me up, but the other cops said, we don't have a case, there's too many witnesses. We want to lock this guy up, but there's too many witnesses. So we don't have a case. So that was it. But see, I got targeted early on. I mean, I could go on forever about that. The bottom line is I'm used to this. This is old hat to me. I had a friend who was a correctional officer, and I was passing his house one day, and I stopped in to see him. Saw his truck in the yard. Thought, oh, I'll stop in there to see Boots. Everybody called him Boots. You know, his name was Bob, but everybody called him Boots. Oh, I'll stop and see Boots. I go in there anyway, and we were talking a bit anyway, and we got talking. I had an incident with the police recently, and I was telling them about it. And he told me, he said, well, what they're trying to do, Tom, he said, is they're trying to break you. And I said to him, well, yeah, it does seem that way. And he said, well, no. He said, I know for a fact that is what's happening. Because I know these guys personally. So he said, I'm telling you, as a friend, that's what they're trying to do. And I said, no, he's long dead now, so I can tell this story because nobody can hurt him now. You know, he's gone. But he died of lung cancer a few years back. But anyway, what I told him was, well, I said, Boots, they may break me. They may kill me. I didn't say they may break me because they won't, but I said they may kill me, but they will not break me. And you know, and I meant it. And I still mean it. You know, I will not be broken. I may be killed. In fact, in all likelihood, if what I believe is true, as far as what's happening here in Canada, that we're moving towards, you know, concentration camps and executions and everything else of dissidents, which is what I believe is going to happen here, and I sincerely believe that, well then, there's a good chance that I'll be one of the ones that they get. But like I say, I would sooner die on my feet than live on my knees. Because to me, living on your knees is death anyway. It's just, you're still breathing. The meat hasn't started to rot, but you're essentially dead. You know, if you're living that way, and I will not live that way. I am going to discontinue the music videos for a little while because I've got one strike that I know of for the music. There may be an additional strike. I don't know. I know I got a claim, and the video was taken away, but I don't know if I got a strike yet. There again, these are things. YouTube actually provides this music for us. It's on their thing when you hit the musical note when you want to put music to the video. That these are your options that they provide. So they provide the music, and then they say you can't use that. You know. Which seems odd to me. It seems like a form of entrapment, really. But still, using music they have provided, I've gotten one copyright strike on my record right now. I may have a second one. They haven't told me, and I have no way of finding out, really. So I don't know. But anyway, here's the thing. That the music videos with the Tin Lion, they're going to go away for a while. They're going to go away for 90 days anyway, because they have to, till I get this copyright strike or strikes off my record. As far as me expressing how I genuinely feel about things and so on, and being myself, I'm going to continue to do that, though. They're not going to stop me from doing that. And even the music videos will return. But it's just, when I get a copyright strike, they'll go away again for a while, that's all. You know. But as far as my expressing myself and being who I am, I'm going to continue to do that. And it may cost me the channel, and if it does, that'll make me sad. I don't want to lose the channel. And I do believe it will be an injustice if I lose the channel. But I also believe that they'll do whatever they'll do, you know. And I know that they're inclined to take people like me off the air. So, you know, and it isn't just them. YouTube is part of it, yes, but it isn't just YouTube. So I'm talking about YouTube because that's the platform I'm on and that's where I'm having the experience. But it isn't just YouTube, it's pretty much across the board. Here in Canada, we have a prime minister who uses the royal we. He says things like, he'll say, I speak for all Canadians when I say. Well, no, he doesn't. He speaks for some. Speaks for himself, for sure, just like I'm speaking for myself now. See, I'm not speaking for anyone else, even people who agree with me. If you agree with me, I'm not speaking for you. You're grown up, you're an adult, you can do your own talking. You don't need me to speak for you. If you agree with me, you agree with me. If you don't, you don't. And look, I'll uphold you in your thoughts and in your opinions either way. Even if we disagree, I'll uphold you in your right to disagree with me. But because the bottom line is, if you don't have the right to disagree with me, then you're not free, and neither am I. Nobody's free if everybody doesn't have the right to disagree. And I mean, like I say, we got a prime minister who says these things and who invokes the royal we, which is troubling, and claiming that he speaks for the entire population every time he opens his mouth, which he doesn't. And, when the trucker convoy rode into Ottawa, he said, we have a small fringe minority who have unacceptable ideas and are expressing them. Well, I have two things to say about that. Who is he to say what's acceptable and what isn't, in terms of ideas? And who is he to imply, at least, that expressing an idea that he disagrees with is unacceptable? You see, those are troubling things. I pick up on stuff like that, and it troubles me. And it isn't just him, though. It isn't just Justin Trudeau. Political leaders in general these days are that way. Now, I think we've allowed it to happen. So, I mean, I can only blame them to a degree because I think we get the government we deserve. And we've allowed this to happen. In Canada, we've allowed it to happen. And now we're getting what we've allowed to happen, And that's one of the reasons that I'm outspoken, is because I'm expressing my disagreement with it. I wish more people like me. There's a lot of people who are closet disagreeers. There's a lot of people because they're scared. And with some reason. It's not like there's no reason to be scared. Because these people will mess you up. They made it clear that they'll mess you up if you disagree. And all this business of being banned from social media and everything, this is just the start. This is just the start. They'll go further than that. And they will go to the point where they'll start taking people's lives. They're moving steadily in that direction. So, but the thing is, if nobody speaks up, it'll be allowed to happen. I've dealt with bullies many times, and what I've found is bullies want an easy victory. That's why they go after people who they perceive to be weak. But when that person they go after stands up to them, a lot of the time, not all the time, but a lot of the time, they back down. And they're actually shocked. You can see they're trying to process it. Did he just stand up to me? They don't know what to make of it. So, so a lot of the time, you see it's confusion. You actually see the look on their face, like, did you just stand up to me? They can't believe it. And a lot of the time, they will back down. But if they don't back down, then you better be prepared to fight, and you better be prepared to absorb the consequences of fighting, which is you're either going to get your butt kicked by the bully, or you may end up in some trouble with authority figures for fighting with the bully. The police may come and get you. You may lose your job. You may have this happen. You may have that happen. There may be retaliation from the bully's friends. You don't know what's going to happen if you fight. But one thing you do know, and I know it at least, if you don't fight, that bully's going to come and push you around every day. because you've now given him a free lunch. You've given him an easy victory. And we like easy victories. Humanity. I'm not a bully, but even I like an easy victory. That's just human nature. People are like that. We like to get what we want, and we like to get it as easily as possible. In a bully's case, a bully likes to dominate people, and a bully likes to get that fix that he gets from dominating people as easily as possible. And so, if you don't stand up, then you're going to become a regular victim of that bully. If you do stand up, well, you may still become a victim, but probably only once, because you're going to make the bully work for his victory, and they don't like that. The bullies are terrible, lazy people generally, So, like I say, but it will mean, did you get injured? Or it'll mean, did you get into trouble for injuring him? And I've been faced with that situation many times, where I've had to do things that I didn't necessarily want to do, and I had to put myself in a position where I would get hurt or I'd get punished because of a situation another person created, because of a bully. And I learned early on that you just have to do it, that's all. And that's what I'm doing here, is I'm standing up in my own way, and I'm saying I will not be bullied. You may beat me, you may kill me, you may incarcerate me, you may throw me off social media, but you will not break me. You will not do that. And that's the thing. Anyway, having said all that, here's Rocky. There he is. Look at him. Hi, Rocky. There's my good boy, Rocky. See, you turned around there. He looked at you. I hope that you saw that. Hey, how are you, my buddy? Hey, look at you. Here he comes. Oh, here he comes, my good boy. Hey, it's early in the morning here. I woke up. I couldn't sleep. And I woke up. It's like 3:30 in the morning again. I keep waking up at 3:30 in the morning for some reason. Getting a little sick of that. But anyway, I just wanted to put that out there for y'all. I don't want to lose this channel, but I realize I may lose it. And if I do lose it, it's going to make me really sad. And I know it's going to make a lot of you really sad too. I'm humbled by that, really, that so many people are just watching me living here with my cat, and that you're finding it inspiring in some ways. And it's quite a thing, to think of that. To think that there are people out there I've never even met who genuinely care what happens to me because they're seeing how I'm living and so on. I never would have thought. Really, I wouldn't have, And I'm humbled by that. And I feel badly. That's all the more reason that I feel badly about it if I lose my channel. It's one of the reasons I feel sad about it, that may happen. But like with so many other things, I've learned over the years that if you stand up, you pay a price. Now, the way I look at it is, if you don't stand up, you also pay a price. That's the thing. Going back to my example of the bully, if you stand up to the bully, he may beat you up, or you may end up having to go to jail or having retaliation from other people or whatever if you beat him up. But, if you don't stand up to him, the price that you'll pay is you'll have this bully as a fixture in your life continuously. And, so you can pay all at once for standing up to the bully, or you can pay every day for not standing up to the bully. Personally, I prefer to pay the price all at once, as much as it hurts. And believe me, it does hurt. And you won't get it all for nothing. But in the end, you pay the price all at once, you put it behind you. You move on, If you're not able to pay or willing to pay the price all at once, well, then you'll pay it in installments for the rest of your life. With that bully as a constant fixture in your life, making things difficult for you, humiliating you and degrading you, you know. So, but yeah, it's not fair. It's not good. It's not fair. But it's the way of the world, you know. And I hate that that's the case. And like I say, I uphold anybody in their right to an opinion, even if their opinion isn't my opinion, even if their opinion's against me, you know. If somebody wants to fly a flag in their yard that says, you know, Tom is a piece of crap, I'll uphold them in that. That's a, yeah, there we go, Rocky had something good. I like that. But I'll uphold them in that. You know, I'll uphold them. If somebody says, how dare they do that? I'll say they have a right to do that. That's their property, and that's their opinion, and they're allowed to do that. And I'll uphold them in it while they do it. There's everyone. You know what? I think he's picked up some ticks. I do. That's a concern. I need to treat him for fleas and ticks, eh? It's that time of year, Rocky. I have some treatment here. It's really good stuff. It's called Revolution. It's terrible expensive, but it's good stuff, and it actually does work. I'll have to put some of that on him. Yes, I will. I'm going to treat you for fleas and ticks today, Rocky. Rocky doesn't like it when I do that, but it does work, so that's what I'm going to do. Now I got to feel him up here for more fleas and ticks. I do. I got to make sure you don't have any more fleas and ticks on you. Anyway, and ticks anyway. I don't sense there being any fleas. I hope there aren't any fleas, but there's I do believe there's a couple of ticks there. Anyway, here's the thing. I really enjoy having this channel, and I hope they don't take it. And I am going to take some minor steps to avoid that, like not posting any music videos for a while. As much as I love to do those, I'm going to have to stop doing those for a little while. But, yeah, I'm going to continue to be who I am, though, and I'm going to continue to express my own ideas about things. And, yeah, like I say, I don't do it a lot, but I do it. And I'm going to continue to do it. And I don't buy the government narrative on a lot of things. And I don't like what our government here is doing with regard to a lot of things. And I'm going to continue to be somebody who openly doesn't agree with those things. And like I say, the reason that I'll uphold a person who disagrees with me isn't because I necessarily agree with that person or even like that person, although there are people I like a great deal who disagree with me. But whether I like them or not, or whether I agree with them or not, I uphold them because if they're not free, then I'm not free either. You know, that's the thing. So it's actually kind of a selfish thing on my part. I uphold people who disagree with me and their right to disagree because I want my right to disagree preserved, and I can't expect to have it preserved if I don't want to see the rights of others also preserved, to have their own ideas, you know. Basically, if one person in this country isn't free, then none of us are free. So if my enemy isn't free, I'm not free, you know. Or if the person who I think a great deal of, who I love as a person and who I actually like as a person, disagrees with me, again, I'll uphold them, you know, in that, because if they're not free, I'm not free. Unfortunately, a lot of the time it doesn't go the other way, but it doesn't matter. I don't control other people or what they do or how they do it, so, you know, I will still uphold a person in their right to have their opinion and to express it, even